Hey guys, it's mcfixit here. We're taking this Blackhawk 280-pound lawn roller, and it's hard to see, but there is a little crack right here, and you can kind of see on the floor as I was rolling it into this location, it did kind of drip out. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and try to make a little bit of water come out of it again. So I'm going to roll it forward and then roll it back right there. You can kind of see where it is just leaking a little bit. Some of this is from the actual ground. I have a little heater back here. It is cold in our garage. So I'm going to just let this thing kind of air out and dry out, and then we're going to go ahead and fix this and get it right back to working order again, so we can get one more roll in on this year before winter really does set in. But this little hairline crack is a problem, but it is fixable. Here are the tools and the supplies that I used. I used this iron kit. It's a soldering iron for welding plastic, has a brass tip on it. Comes with an extra, which is pretty nice, a number of plastic little pieces. This is poly of some sort. I know there's a couple of different types, but it seemed to work really well. They have this mesh stuff, which you probably will need to buy more of this if you have big, large projects like what I did. 10 snips are really helpful. They also would encourage you to have some kind of mask. And I also used safety glasses and something to just sand down and kind of prep the area. You might also want some kind of soapy water if it is dirty. That's really helpful as well. So just a little bit of Dawn dish soap and water mixed together goes a long way in cleaning it up and prepping that surface. So you may also want kind of a heat gun. You can also use a blowtorch. These things do help kind of clean up the area before you begin. But these are all the tools and supplies I used. It also has this little scraper, and so after you get done, you can clean it up before the next time, but you really won't need that unless it is dirty to begin with, which it shouldn't be. If it's a new kit, I've used this a couple of different times and I really do like it. Pretty good kit. So all that's linked in the description below. So go ahead and let it start heating up for about 5 minutes. Next thing you want to do is kind of get an idea on how big this is, and you're going to want to cut a piece of mesh that is actually bigger than it. And so it does come with a couple of pieces of mesh, and some 10 snips do work really well on that. And so once you got a kind of a firm idea, this is going to be a bigger cut. Go ahead and cut that out. This mesh really does help make everything work really, really well. And I might trim it up just a little bit to make it a little bit more user-friendly. And then save any of the stuff you don't use, which is important. The next thing I like to do is just go ahead and grab some sandpaper and just sand the area and clean it up. This will help it hold a little better too. And you'll begin to start smelling that when it's about ready to go ahead and start. Safety is key, so go ahead and put on your glasses. You'll also want to put some kind of mask on. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So you may not be able to hear me as well over the next few minutes as I'm doing this. If I need to, I will do a voiceover as well, but I'm going to try to talk really loud into this. Just want to make sure I'm as safe as possible, because this stuff will have some nasty repercussions if you're just breathing it in, especially if you're doing it all of the time. This kit does come with a couple of pieces of this as well. And because this is a lawn wheel, I went ahead and pulled the drain plug and dried it out. I think it's been sitting for about 2 days now. And so that should really help me out. And so the first thing I like to do is, once this is nice and warmed up, is just kind of go over the area and kind of burn off any excess anything on it. It'll also help kind of just heat it up. It is a little chilly today, but I do have my garage door open, so I get the best ability to not breathe any of this stuff in. And this is just kind of prepping the surface. I'm not doing a whole lot, except just quickly going over the whole area. And then we're going to set this down, because this is a bigger crack down here. We'll set it here. And as you begin to melt this, you'll see it actually, the plastic come through, which is kind of crazy. And I like to start in the center of it and kind of work my way out. So I'll probably go all the way up. Another little tip you can do if you have some compressed air, you can actually blow it on it to help it dry quicker. You can also add more to it as well. Sometimes you do have to go ahead and pull and add a little bit more plastic. It does come with a number of these in the kit, which is really helpful. And if you get any on the backside, you actually can just kind of pull it. And because it's going to be soft and flexible, just go ahead and put it back down on there. And so now you can see I've got pretty much the whole bottom half. I don't have it like filled up with extra, but I am trying to kind of smooth it out as I go. And so kind of working my way from the bottom up to the top now. I am going to take my tin snips. I don't need it up this far, so I am going to cut another little chunk, which is really easy to do with these. Kind of set that off to the side and continue to weld this down onto the plastic. So now that is almost all the way taken care of there, that thing is almost all the way down. There are a couple of pieces that are sticking up that are metal. We'll cut those off later. Don't worry about those. We'll go ahead and start working on getting this kind of melted and building back up this center piece here. So I'm just going to take it and just put that right there and just let it melt it down. And then we'll just stick it down in there. And remember, this is where that little bit of a dimple was at. And so it's just literally just melting it down onto it. Now, some things, if you had a little bit like of extra stuff on the side or something, you could shave it off and reuse the exact same type of plastic. But these little pieces that this comes with are pretty awesome. I really would not want to shave anything off on a project like this. But if you're on some kind of other project that just has some extra plastic somewhere, you could definitely get away with doing something like that. And especially because I can't get to the other side, the best way to do this would be to do this on the inside as well, or whatever's on the other side of this. Sometimes it won't be on the inside. I honestly cannot do that because this is all sealed. And so this is going to be probably the best I can do. There's lots of different glues you could use as well. It's really hard to use on this poly plastic, a lot of those different types of glue. So melting plastic and having that mesh, I think is really going to be one of your best options to getting this back to kind of what it was. Now, it's not going to be perfectly round, but it's going to be about as good as you can get it, honestly. And as this roller rolls on the ground and over concrete, it will get smoother over time. And when you get towards the end, like I am right here, just find like your lowest spot that you need to put more plastic and just set it down on there. Don't try to move it around Just let it naturally go into there and then move it around and don't burn your hand. I know this isn't the hottest soldering iron ever, but yeah, you can definitely do some damage. It's just not worth it. Then this is where you can kind of start smoothing it out, because you got a good amount of buildup on there. Gonna get another kind of big chunk for up here. So I'm gonna melt off quite a bit. I probably should have got my respirator out for this. That'd probably be a better than just the N95, but at least the N95 is gonna block some of that. Because this stuff stinks. You can smell the plastic burning. But that's kind of what you want. You're trying to weld it down onto there. And this can work for hundreds of plastic applications. And you can also buy more of these pretty much anywhere. I think the big box stores even have them. If not, I know you can buy it online. There's quite a few different retailers. And I think they have different colors. So like if you have a blue kayak and you're trying to fix your kayak, you should be able to find a blue color and be able to mend that kayak back. Or trash can. We have blue trash cans. That's what made me think of it. Okay, once you've done it a little bit, you're going to go ahead and kind of look down to see what you're missing. I need some more right here and a little bit here and a little bit here. So right now I'm just kind of working on making sure everything looks nice and straight, and if I missed any parts, to just go ahead and hit those up. I do like, even though it's not mandatory to make all that metal pretty much dust disappear, I'll have a couple of small little pieces that I'll have to take care of and just tin snip them off. Just smoothing out any little imperfections. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this. That way it is cooling down. Oh, and a little spot dropped off. I'm going to try to pick that up and throw it back over here. Make sure you save any of this that's left over as well. And then I'm going to come back and see if there's anything else I need to cut. I know that needed cut, and I knew there was one down here, and there was one here. And you can always come back and cut more if you missed, but that thing is already almost totally dry, even though I literally just stopped. Just even this right here that I just did. And it's nice and firm and hard. I think I fixed this. We're going to go ahead and fill it back up with water, which is the ports on this side, and go ahead and do a test with it. But yeah, that's looking good. I don't think that's gonna bust again. So crazy that you can plastic weld today. Didn't even know this thing was an option till a couple of weeks ago, and so I hope this is really helpful for you, and hope you continue watching as we go ahead and test this. So just to show you, this is the same one. This is that area we went ahead and finished just a moment ago and plastic weld it. This one does not fit in here, so I'm just gonna kind of just hold it actually as I turn it on. Go ahead and fill this up. This will take quite a bit of water, and so just take as long as it takes until it does overflow. When it overflows, it'll look like this at the end. But if you don't have it in there properly, it'll look like that at any point. So go ahead and fill that up. Okay, that's full. So we can go ahead and start up the mower and roll the yard. So I just rolled the yard and I went back and forth, and then I went over the concrete multiple times, and you can see this right here, this section is right where that was. That is not leaking at all. There is a little bit of dew on the ground. It is in the evening now, and that does happen here, but it is not leaking at all. That right there fixed it. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe. Please comment if you do have any questions. Thank you guys so much for watching.